Welcome to Tanked Up, the podcast about video games and craft beer. I'm Ben Noda. I'm joined by Alex Malpass.
Yay.
Hello.
Hello.
And we're joined by Aadil Koji.
Hello.
Hey, dude. Let's get straight into some beers.
Yeah. Okay, so we've got some... We don't have a honest brew box this week because I didn't change my debit card details with them when I lost my card the other day. So they're still waiting for me to pay them. And that,
so is it sat in a warehouse somewhere?
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
So we went to Waitrose, where everything is better and everything makes sense.
A little bit slower, I found.
Yeah, that's true. And we didn't really fit in because they're all old and rich, and I'm only middle-aged and poor. So
I wouldn't classify you as middle-aged.
Well, what's middle-aged? I mean, I'm 32. I'll be 33.
So
in
you'd be middle-aged if you expected to die at 64.
Which is
or
probably
around then.
Around
which is about right.
Yeah. I mean, what's my actual life expectancy in the UK for a man is probably only about 75.
I think it's about 75, yeah.
So yeah. I'm in the bandwidth of half. I'm certainly not in the first half.
Oh, what a joyous start to the podcast it is.
I'm in the middle third of my life.
Yeah, I'll go with that.
So, yeah,
right.
That's middle-aged.
What did Waitrose have on offer?
Lots of lovely, lovely beers, actually. A surprisingly good selection of beers. And we drank lots of them yesterday.
We did.
And then only I went to work because it's a bank holiday in the UK today. So Ben and our respective other halves pissed the day away doing fuck all.
Got to lounge.
And it's not a bank holiday in the beer industry, I take it?
It is, but they just don't give a shit about that. You have to work anyway. It's just... someone works on Christmas Day. That's how non-stop it is. It's just the production line keeps going, whatever happens.
Do they actually pay you the time and a half or whatever it is for working on a bank holiday? Yeah, I didn't think so.
That's all been stomped all over in the contract, which I'm not complaining, just in case this goes out. I like my employment there, and I'm not complaining about the terms of it, but it's, that it doesn't. You just have to forget about things like that. There's no bank holidays. There's no pussying out with holidays.
That's fair. So that means you're probably well up for a beer.
I'm up for a beer, yeah. So we've got two in particular. This Westmalle Trappist Bubbel, which is a classic.
Yeah, it's a pretty good Trappist.
Yep. Which is no surprise. I've had it before. I think you gave me one ages ago, Aadil. So you've obviously had that beer before. Mm-hmm. And have you had one of those before?
No, I've not had that one before.
Okay, good. So at least that'll be a surprise for you. We've got this ginormous bottle of Meantime American Pale Ale.
India Pale Ale.
India Pale Ale. Lovely. India Pale Ale.
And it's a big bottle. It looks like wine.
Yeah, it's got cork. Yeah, like a champagne bottle. Yeah.
Mm. So that means there's still active yeast in it or something?
No, I think it's just fancy.
Oh, so they don't have the cork because they have to. They have the cork because it's neat.
Yeah, that's right.
So it's a hipster IPA.
Yeah, that's it.
One of the smallest categories there is.
That's true. Yeah, the only hipster IPA in the world.
Yeah,
it's actually not. I mean, Meantime recently bought out by Miller, and now they're getting some of their. I saw this thing the other day that they're getting some of their beer brewed at the Grolsch Brewery, which is obviously no longer can you claim to be craft beer if Grolsch are mass producing it for you, and you're owned by Miller, the producers of Miller Lite.
So we've stepped out of craft beer and just gone to beer.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
Well, formerly craft beer.
Yes, that's right. And Trappist, does that count as craft? I mean, that predates craft beer by 600 years or something.
As long as we take the small scale interpretation of craft beer.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't do the craft beer notion of not having a steadier recipe because you're gonna, play and fool around with the craft because, well, they don't. They do the same thing they've been doing for hundreds of years.
Yeah. Well, they're damn good at it. So.
Yeah, exactly. So I would think that Trappist beers sit fine in our wheelhouse.
So, whilst we open the Trappist beer, which we'll start with, what are you drinking, Aadil?
I'm drinking the Garrison Brewing Hopyard Pale Ale. It is a dry hopped pale ale made in Garrison Brewery, which is an old garrison in Halifax that was converted to a brewery right on the sea. So it was a Navy garrison. It's dry hopped, so I expect... I've actually had it before, but let's pretend. I expect really strong notes on the nose. I also...
Screw top.
Nice.
Yes. I also did that thing, which whenever I have one beer, which is I forgot to get a cup, so my coloration notes may be a little...
brown.
Yeah.
You Philistine, you.
It is. It's got a lovely, slight citrus, lemony taste, or nose, I should say. It's pretty light. You can definitely smell the hops, but it's mostly sort of a light, citrusy, hoppy smell.
Mm.
Nothing too in your face. Versus some of the dry hopped IPAs we've had together, where the dry hopping has been severe. This is sort of you can tell that it's a strong nose in the sense of it's stronger than the average beer, but it's quite a light, pleasant, lemony nose.
Nice.
Nothing too severe. Ooh, that's a nice dark color.
Yeah.
It is. It's very dark. I didn't expect it to be this dark. I don't know why.
Well, it come in various colours, don't these Belgian beers?
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, it looks like a Coke almost.
Mm.
Except the head is like thick and creamy.
Yeah, unlike a Coke. It doesn't have a huge nose. Or is it much there?
No, it's not about the nose. There would be, I reckon, probably no dry hopping at all in this.
I'm guessing malty?
It's malty, yeah.
It is.
Sort of, it's a very complex flavour though. There's lots going on in it. There's cherries and strawberries, and the spiciness, kind of Christmas spices, that type of thing. It's really difficult to describe this. It's a unique flavour. But you know it when you've had it. Yeah. It's a great beer.
Have you, how would you compare it to other, it's a double, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or a double. How would you compare it to others? Like, for instance, the Roquefort 8
it's quite similar to the Roquefort 8. Yeah, that's right. And I think that the Roquefort is probably better. But they're very, very similar. I picked the Roquefort. I bought one in London and at the beer festival. I think it was £6 for this 330 bottle.
Shit.
Yeah. But I was like, I know, but I just want it anyway. The woman was like, it's £6, you know, kind of thing. It's like, yes, just let me have it. Give it to me.
That's interesting. So you had access to a whole bunch of new beers, but was this just your, like, I need to have a nice, stable taste? What was going...
Yeah, I think there was quite a lot of misses as well as a couple of hits, and I was tired of missing, and I wanted to also get my brother to taste it as well, because he hadn't had one before. And I was like, look, I just know this is going to be a nice beer. And I think one of the other people in the group we were with was trying to slag off Belgian beer, which is
impossible.
Yeah, nobody's talking about. So I had to get one that was like, it's a guaranteed nice beer.
Yeah, it's my favorite Trappist beer and one of my favorite beers, the Roquefort 8. The
10 is also good, although completely different. I think that's a triple.
The 6 is also good, but I would rate it 8, 10, 6.
Yeah, same, I think. Yeah.
This has been Beers We're Not Drinking with Alex and Aadil.
Yeah.
As for the beer I'm drinking, the Hopyard Pale Ale, it's quite hoppy on the taste. I haven't so far, in a couple of sips, tasted any of the citrusy, lemony notes that the nose gives away.
Not a big fan of lemon notes in a beer, anyway. I think it's quite one-dimensional, and it can overpower things.
It's really light in this. I thought the nose was quite good. It was kind of like a delicate lemony hop, but it's just not there in the taste, which is sort of disappointing. Not that I was looking forward to a lemony beer, but I really dislike, especially when it's because of dry hopping, like where what you smell is not what you get.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, possibly. It depends if they're dry hopping with a different...
Well, that's what I mean. So it seems like that they must have... It tastes like they dry hopped with a different hop, because it doesn't taste like it smells.
It doesn't say on it what hops are in?
It says, return for refund where applicable.
I see.
Oh,
You
and
turn it with a tiny
contains
bit
gluten.
Oh, yes. I know that hop. That's a good one.
The gluten hop?
Yeah.
Gluten.
Yeah, it's quite good.
Why don't, as we've all played the same game, and we're going to discuss that, I assume, at length, which happens to be the Call of Duty Black Ops 3 beta, which happened last weekend and this weekend. Why don't you, Alex, chat about like what your favourite beer was from the Great British Beer Festival?
The best beer I had was, I didn't make a note of the brewery, but it was from the American stand. So there was about 20 different bars. Most of them UK, arranged by alphabet, I think, which is a bit bizarre. It was a location arranged by alphabet. So you'd have Somerset and Sussex or something in the same, so just it was essentially a random selection of UK beers on each one. And then you had things like Belgian, American, whatever. And so, the best one I had was an American Pale Ale called Mojo. I can't remember what the name of the... I could probably Google it and get that. Can I Google it?
You probably could.
Oh, fuck it.
You may hear a very small amount of tapping.
There might be some kind of link in a description box or something.
Yeah.
Or not.
It's called Mojo?
Mojo, yeah.
And it's an APA?
Yeah, that's right. I also had a taste of a beer where the woman... It was essentially a cider that I think had been put on the wrong stand.
Right.
I remember saying to her, that it was at the American stand, actually. So that's a cider, though. And she was like, no, it's definitely a beer. I was like thinking, well, no, it isn't, though. It's a fucking cider. I know what a cider is, and I'm not that drunk or whatever. But so, yeah, anyway. In answer to the question, that was probably it. Mojo. It's kind of like a Fanta style.
It's by Boulder Beer in Boulder, Colorado, and it is an IPA.
Okay, cool.
Sorry, continue.
Good researching.
Yeah, well,
I also will turn my cell phone off now that...
Boulder are quite a well-known brewery, so it's not surprising that they're making quite a good beer. Yeah, they're good. They're up there in like ones you'd know about if you're in the UK, knowing about American beers.
And not to sort of call any breweries out, but what was something you picked up that actually disappointed you?
I had a couple, but I can't remember. I had a lot to drink that day, so I can't remember that much. We made notes, but I don't have the notes. And the notes got increasingly surreal as it went on. I can remember insisting that the word, was it supercilious or something, was one of the descriptive words that I insisted went on. And I gave one a review, which was meaningless pale ale.
Quite like that.
Because it just was like water or something. What I did wrong was the first beer I ordered was a black IPA.
Okay.
And I didn't realise it was going to be a black IPA. I just picked it because it had a funny name or something.
Yeah.
And I was like, bad. First thing I've done is drink an IPA at the beginning of a drinking session. So now I basically have to just drink IPAs the rest of the day, or everything else is going to taste like water. So the meaningless pale ale probably wasn't that bad. It's just that...
Tainted.
Yeah, I've been drinking IPA all day. So, I ruined it, really. Ruined the whole day.
Oh, dear. But was it... obviously, I've never been before. Was it a good? Was it a laugh?
Oh, yeah, it was funny. And we had someone in our group decided to bring funny hats. So we had hats that looked like sharks eating our heads, which was a bit cringy to begin with. Obviously got easier the more drunk we got.
Right.
But surprisingly, a lot of people in fancy dress at this event, and a lot of them rated the hats and kept coming over and saying, "Oh man, they're brilliant hats. Where did you get them?" and stuff like this. So hats went down pretty well in the end.
Good. You had your tinsel wig.
Wig, yeah, red tinsel wig with a shark eating my head.
That's pretty good.
One thing I liked about it was if anyone dropped a glass and it smashed on the floor, then people nearby them, obviously who could hear the noise, would just start going, "Way!" And then this sort of like Mexican "way" would go all the way around the entire like thousands of people, and so you really did not want to drop a glass on the floor. Obviously, be embarrassed by everyone in there going, "Way!" So that was quite funny. It was good. I recommend going for a laugh kind of thing. We'll drink some good beers and some not so good beers, but
because you only went for a day, didn't you? I think it's like a 2 or 3 day event.
Yeah, it was Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And White Prince True told me on Facebook that they were going and that they would have kiwi lilt on, and they weren't even listed on any of the days.
Oh,
so I'm not quite sure what happened there. Whether maybe they would. I can't understand how they would say
a different venue. Perhaps was there different venues?
Another beer festival going on in London on the same day.
Maybe they were on the secret bar of all the quality beers.
Yeah,
you just have to know where the location is.
Perhaps, yeah.
The unlisted bar.
Exactly. Only if you're in the know. Only if you're with the cool kids.
Oh well, maybe they were listed under Mojo by Boulder, and I just liked because it was actually kiwi lilt. I like Prince True. I don't know. Anyway,
it's definitely a possibility. Right. Let us discuss Black Ops 3. We've all played it. You and I, Alex, played it on PlayStation 4, and you played it on Steam, Aadil.
On the PC, yes.
So, Aadil, what is your first impressions? Actually, before you give us your first impressions, what was the last Call of Duty game you played?
Besides whatever we played on Alex's Xbox?
Was it one where it was Advanced Warfare then, probably? When you could do double jumps and stuff?
No, it was because you didn't like that game, so you never put it in.
But you did play that though, didn't you?
No, I've never played Advanced Warfare.
Okay. No,
Maybe it was Modern Warfare?
Yeah, well, probably. We probably played a selection of Modern Warfare.
Okay, so and Black Ops 3 is a bit more like Advanced Warfare with the double jumping and the wall running and those sort of like Titanfall elements in there. So it's a different experience for both you and I, Aadil, compared to our previous Call of Duty.
Because there's so many like power-ups and like it's such a like upgradey game. My first couple rounds of Team Deathmatch, I just assumed the double jump was a power-up until I happened to hit jump after hitting jump and was like, man, I'm an idiot.
Yeah, like this revolutionary game dynamic that's changed all first-person shooters. They now all have to have it.
It's
new
dumb.
Halo has it. New Advanced Warfare had it. Black Ops following suit. So I thought it was slightly better, the way that for some reason, somehow, it was slightly better in Black Ops 3 than Advanced Warfare. In Advanced Warfare, it just seemed to ruin it somehow. Whereas it sort of seemed less intrusive than Black Ops 3.
Do you think that's map design? Because they've had some time to figure out what that does?
It might
be. There are a couple of spots I could double jump and barely, like I had to time it perfectly to get over a really high wall. Otherwise, I would just sort of smack into it on the few maps I played. So to me, it didn't seem that terrible. And the wall running came in handy when it's like, oh, that ledge, that's just window dressing. I'm about to die. And then just running and like zigzagging back up before I died.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I mean, it does seem to open up a few more paths across the map, but they sort of almost seem like they could be paths that could just have a floor. And you could just use it as a corridor to be able to move through. It does add a little bit more when you pop around a corner and someone's running along a wall rather than coming towards you along the ground. It makes you have to react a little differently, a bit more spatially aware.
Yeah.
Because it's got a few more, not levels as such, because someone could be in a window at the end of this corridor, so you've still got to look up at that. But they could almost be right on top of you as you pop around the corner, sort of along a wall. So it almost, I think, tries to make it like a faster experience.
Yeah.
Something a bit more reactionary. And all of the Call of Duties seem to have got a little bit faster, sort of with all of the different iterations from Modern Warfare, so Call of Duty 4, up to the last one that I played, which was Modern Warfare 3. They all had got slightly faster and seemed to be just trying to have you constantly within like the middle of the action, so you weren't sort of on the peripheries of any maps, unlike something like Battlefield, which is huge maps and you're sort of moving to different points across the maps and things. And this almost seems like the next step in just trying to make a faster game, really.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything they could have done else to make it faster as such. I'm not sure they
even smaller maps.
Yeah, quite possibly. You spawn 4 feet in front of your enemy, and
the fish in the barrel mod.
Shoot. Yeah.
I still think that I think you're right. They're trying to make it faster, although there's a kind of tendency to just kind of like a race to the bottom of just like a churn of people just running and dying, respawning, running and killing, respawn, run and die. Like there's not much strategy in that like really fast kind of environment. I mean, yes, it is fast and it's action packed, but I don't know. It sort of leans towards the noob who's not really got any strategy, who's just running and shooting. He's happy to just do that,
Yeah, so. And that's the one thing I noticed was that even the top scorers had quite a few deaths, which, given that except for basically I'm a Team Fortress 2 Counter-Strike source, that multiplayer FPS, that's my sort of upbringing, if you will, and TF2 was a lot of strategy and actually using voice a lot more. That's where I felt it did a good job of bringing that to the masses. And Counter-Strike, you really didn't want to die. And what I found really interesting was, I don't know about when you guys played, but basically no one was in most of the types of maps, most of the types of games. Like if you didn't want to do team deathmatch or the kind where you take points and hold them, you were waiting forever for there's just no one was interested in even capture the flag was empty when every time I tried it. The one that had permadeath was desolate as well. I found that very telling, that because no one who's playing this is thinking, as soon as I die, I'm gonna have to just wait.
Yeah.
We did try. Most of the games we played were team deathmatch, but we did try another mode where it's almost you almost have like a football. You have a globe, and once you're in possession of the globe, you have to get it to a point to score, but you're not allowed to shoot, and you have to throw the globe. And we popped into an already running game, and the team that we popped into were sort of like 3-4 scores down, and the team that we were on, it just seemed like chaos, and everyone was all over the place. There was no sort of strategy to it. There was no teamwork going on whatsoever. Everyone was just running and trying to get the sort of the little kills. And we thought, well, thinking about going into playing this mode, we thought we'll have a sort of a close combat shotgun type loadout, so we can get in with whoever's got the globe, we can sit in front of them, we can pop people off as they're coming towards us and be able to move it through. But you just didn't get the opportunity because I think just the other people that we were playing with almost spoiled the game mode for us. And it may have been that the other team were a group of players who were all playing together, were all
there
chatting.
Was a massive difference between it was like 19-0 or something by the time it finished. It was stupid. So that game mode's not new in this iteration.
Okay.
It's also in Advanced Warfare.
Yeah.
And it's reasonably popular in terms of the numbers playing it when you scroll through the lobbies. So people like that game mode. But there's one thing I wanted to say about it, which is that I don't think that the innovation in moving through essentially third dimension movement adds that much. And what they really should be innovating in, which isn't that difficult, is genuinely new game modes. They don't need to change the format of it too much. And I've always thought that this game mode style would be good, where one side is defending like a ridge or a fortress or some kind of trench or something, and they've got permadeath, and then the other team endlessly respawn, and there's like 10 minutes where all you have to do is
withstand.
Yeah, exactly. And then because they've never exploited the idea of having a genuinely defensible position, which requires some kind of thought about how you storm it.
Yeah, I think you get that a lot in Battlefield.
Yeah.
So
but there's no reason why they couldn't import that idea into Modern Warfare or Black Ops or something. But they're just not doing that, and they're just going for the cheap, quick, fast churn of like run around and shoot, which basically sells better for little kids who are probably the target audience, realistically. And I'm 32 and playing these games, and I want something slightly more. I mean, I still love first-person shooters, but I just want something slightly more to think about with them, not just, wow, I used a shotgun and shot him in the face, and now I got shot in the face with an Uzi. That just won't keep me going for long enough. So,
yeah, because like you were saying, you sort of fell out with Advanced Warfare quite quickly, didn't you?
It sucks. Terrible game.
Do you like this one more?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, somehow. Like I said, the double jump didn't seem so intrusive into the game dynamic. So, yeah, I preferred it for that reason. It seemed more natural inclusion of that new dimension or whatever.
Did you guys get a chance to play with the different specialist abilities?
No, we just chose the one.
Yeah, after you left, I then started to play with a different character, because I've got some tokens to be able to unlock one of them. And we played with, I can't remember the name of it, but the woman who has like an exploding bow and arrow. For most
I
of the
did
time.
as well, Sparrow.
Yes, Sparrow, that's it. And it seemed very good. It would pop quite often. You'd have the ability to be able to use it quite a lot, which was nice. It was quite a quick weapon. It seemed like it did give something else to the gameplay. So then if you went in with a different kind of character, you might be on a different kind of game mode, a different map, and you know that if you go in as a different specialist class, it's specialties they call it?
Specialist.
Sort of different specialist. So if you go in as a different specialist, you're going to be able to take more advantage of sort of the different game modes and things like that. But in a lot of the games we played, the majority of people were Sparrow with the bow and arrow, and it seemed like a very popular choice. And
because bows and arrows are cool.
Yeah, well, we didn't know any more about it than just the descriptions when we went into it. But obviously, everybody had gravitated towards that class.
My favorite moment was actually when I had Sparrow active. I killed the Nemesis as they were double jumping over me and shooting at me with the bow and arrow.
Nice.
So I exploded her midair and got the revenge. And it was like one shot kill, bow and arrow kill, revenge, and midair. I got all these achievements all in the one shot. I was like,
nice.
I see how people like collecting these things. That was pretty fun. I also got to play with the other, the pulse that was on the same character.
Oh yeah.
And it basically does a pulse around you, sort of medium range, and all the enemies around you are highlighted in orange, so you can see them moving around for a few seconds, so you can stalk them or whatever. But it's such a frenetic game, I didn't find it that useful. And I found the fact that it was the specialist things are on a long timer, that was more frustrating with that weapon, because it was like, oh, I didn't get to, my pulse kind of failed me last time. Because it just goes, right? While the Sparrow or with the traditional weapons ones, you are holding the weapon and hunting people down. You feel like you're active with the thing. Even if you don't kill anyone with it, you at least, it sort of didn't seem like a ripoff. And I also played, because I kept getting killed by one person, with the electricity gun.
That's the other one that I tried out as well.
Yeah. It's an interesting idea, the sort of slow timer throughout your matches. And I don't know if anything accelerates it, like if you're on killing streaks or whatever.
Yeah, I'm not sure. We couldn't sort of
I think
pick
it
up
is
on it. But
accelerated by kills. It seemed that we would get one after getting a kill. It would always coincide with getting a kill. So
maybe that's just the trigger for it popping. But I don't know.
Because it does have a timer circle.
Time previous to that.
Like in the bottom right. I'm sorry, go on.
I was going to say, maybe if you played a match for 5 minutes and didn't get any kills, it just sort of doesn't pop until you get that kill to activate it as such sort of thing. But
I definitely got it without not around an immediate kill, But there is a little circle that shows your progress to whatever your weapon of choice is on the bottom right. I just didn't pay enough attention to see if, like, when I was doing all right, whether that was increasing the speed in which it filled.
You got so much more stuff to look at constantly on the screen. So then try and look at this tiny little icon that may be filling up is quite difficult.
Well, on that note, I think it's time for another beer. So
definitely,
we're going to have this Meantime IPA.
It's a giant bottle.
Yeah, it's like a wine bottle size bottle. I guess it's
$7.50.
$7.50.
Yeah.
And it's 7.4%.
Oh wow!
Okay.
Nice.
The Double, the Trappist, was 7%. So this one is a little more
potent
for a little more.
So, Ben,
yes.
I can't remember. Do you traditionally FPS on consoles more than PC?
I do, yeah. I'm trying to think of any PC, recent PC version of an SPS game I've played, and the only thing that springs to mind is Quake Arena, which isn't recent at all.
It's impressive.
A long time ago. And actually, I felt that Black Ops 3 had a little bit of sort of Quake Arena about it, because Quake Arena was a very chaotic, very fast-paced game with a lot of deaths, a lot of charging around, blowing the shit out of people.
It actually, now that you mention it, it reminds me of Unreal Tournament 2004 with smaller maps and no vehicles. With the idea, I mean, with Unreal, you could, if you knew where weapons spawned, you could, run off and get the satellite weapon or whatever. But with the idea of, like, sort of every so often a giant stupid weapon would get things through, and you weren't really as worried about your kill-death ratio because it was just such a chaotic game. Although, I think I prefer Unreal Tournament 2004 now that I think about it.
Yeah, I think I played a couple of the Unreal Tournament games as well.
It was one of the primary games we played at the LAN Cafe in early undergrad, late high school.
And they were always fun games.
Well, no, I guess it would have had to have been early undergrad, because I was
not in high school. You, Alex, mentioned about something like this being more for kids. And when we played those games, like Quake Arena and Unreal Tournament stuff, it was a long time ago when we were kids. So it seemed like it was aimed at us then. So
because it's made by people our age.
Yeah, exactly. So why wouldn't the new Call of Duty be aimed at that sort of same audience as such? So maybe they're trying to get a little bit of, they're trying to keep it a fast-paced, frantic sort of shooter for the younger generation, but also trying to get maybe a little bit of nostalgia back of how first-person shooters used to be for the older people.
That's a describing intentionality where it's not really there. I think they're just making a cheap, quick game.
I was going to say, I think it's probably more like the Hollywood syndrome of putting all your eggs in one reliable basket.
Yeah, that's right. It's like an action film with a reasonably well-known star in it.
Well, I mean, that's when we talked about Battlefield Hardline. Is that the one? Hard something? Hard Cock?
The Cops and Robbers version.
Yeah, I mean, it really doesn't have much of battling, and there isn't any field to speak of. It's not a Battlefield game except in engine and maker. Like, it really had more of a plot, from what I understand. And it wasn't like as generic. It wasn't a two warring factions battlefield. It literally wasn't a battlefield.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting that lives in that franchise, but it makes sense because people like Cops and Robbers games. GTA 5 is making money on their heists, and Payday has been a great franchise, which is just heists. Which, if you haven't played, Payday 2 is so much fun. A mate of mine came over on Thursday, and I introduced him to the wonders of Payday 2, and he's like, I will play more of this. I'm like, damn straight. And it was $5 on the Steam sale last weekend, so it's not like I made him buy an expensive game. And they just released more DLC. But where was I? Ramble.
Battlefield, no fields.
Oh yeah, so it just seems like you have to keep the label because it'll sell. But that was Battlefield's approach. Seemed to be like, let's try something new, but still call it this, and they seem to have done fine. While Call of Duty seems to have. You're right, Alex. I think they're streamlining the experience. Like, what is the core experience of Call of Duty? We'll make sure we get that, and we'll fancify it. Why is it called Black Ops? I'm not really sure.
I don't know either. Whether there's something to do with the storyline, the main campaign, which ties it into the Black Ops universe as such. Whether it follows on.
Does anyone play the campaign?
I played the campaign in the first Black Ops game. I normally with the Call of Duty games, the first thing I do is play the campaign because they're very short, and it just allows you to get a grip on the new, if there is anything new within the controls or the mechanics of the game. So I normally play the campaign first. And I seem to remember enjoying the Black Ops campaign more than I'd enjoyed any of the other campaigns. I know World at War, which was between Call of Duty 4 and Modern Warfare 2, for its campaign is meant to be quite well received. But yeah, any of the newer games, sort of Modern Warfare games, don't really have a storyline, but they sort of do.
Well, they do, but fuck it.
Yeah, it just seems weird because regardless of campaign, the gameplay has almost nothing Black Opsy at all. Like there's very little even ability to do anything sort of stealthy or sneaky.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. It's
or
the opposite.
Even sniping is actually quite difficult in this game, which I kind of liked because I used to be a sniper in TF2, and the game made it so that it was reasonably well balanced. But like you could have a really low KDR because just of the nature of sniping, and in this, I mean, I didn't do well as a sniper, mostly because I just don't have the skill as the other PC gamers on it. But I managed to kill a sniper with a pistol from getting the long shot award from halfway across the map, because sniping is like the maps are just not conducive to really hiding. So he was on a rooftop, so I went on the opposite rooftop, and I just emptied a clip slowly and killed him. And I was like, I like that. I mean, sniping in some games, at least 10 years ago, used to be like everyone was a sniper because they didn't want to die was a problem.
Yeah.
And that's, at least, I'm glad to see it was solved. But
we didn't try sniper rifle when we were playing Black Ops 3.
I never play with sniper rifles.
No, I'm on not the first Black Ops. What was the one before it? On Modern Warfare 2 and on Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, I played sniper quite a lot and enjoyed being a sniper on those games.
On those ones, there was like a sort of there was a glitch that people exploited. So when you were when someone moved into the crossfire, the crosshair wasn't actually there, but there was obviously a center of the screen thing, like region. And if someone moved into that region, there was a little drag effect that meant that it would sort of slightly lock on. It would like push you in the right direction if you aimed at that point. And what it meant was, if you had a sniper rifle and equipped with the, I think it's quick draw or something, which meant that your aim was quick, then you could get one shot kills.
Without even having to aim?
Really? Well, yeah, you aim, but it's like all about aiming at exactly the point where it auto-aims for you. So you would be just getting that, you'd get a headshot, even if it's on the other side of the map kind of thing, you know. So people would exploit this. It's called quick scoping. It's very...
Did that come a bit later in sort of the other, in like Modern Warfare 3 and...
It started in Modern Warfare 2, and they never really got rid of it because it didn't want to get rid of the central mechanic of giving you that little bit of... Because it just means that otherwise it makes it very, very difficult to...
be a sniper?
Get a shot.
Yeah.
Well, not just be a sniper, but also just get a shot generally. Like, helps with your noob kind of customers, helping them get those kills that they would otherwise just be missing.
But
so they didn't want to drop that mechanic, but it did mean that it was always exploitable by quickscopers. And it got to the point where it's stupid now. If you occasionally, I do play a bit of Modern Warfare 2, you're looking at everyone's got a sniper rifle. There's like me with an AK and everyone else with a sniper rifle. So all you can hear across the background is just like single shots going off, no one using an automatic rifle. And people shoot through walls and stuff. It's ridiculous. You think, oh, I'm well hidden in this like room with one door going into it. And oh no, I've been shot through the wall by this quick scoping prick outside. And then you watch the replay and he's jumped up and he's got his pad on ultra sensitive and he spins round like a 1080 spin or whatever and just pops off a one shot through the wall that gets an instant headshot. And you think this is stupid. Like that is not modern warfare. I don't know what he thinks happens in actual modern warfare in real battles, but that's not what it is.
To be fair, I don't think none of us know what really happens in a real...
that might be true, but I do know what doesn't happen. And that's one of the... There's lots of things I know that doesn't happen, and that's one of them. Anyway, look, we're drinking this Meantime
What
IPA.
physics...
Oh yeah, how is...
It had an odd nose to it.
Yeah, it's disappointing.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
More mean than time?
Yeah, it's got like a kind of... It makes you think that it's going to be like a sort of caramelly, sweet, like a double IPA kind of sometimes has that, like where it's quite boozy. That's what the nose makes you think. But then when you actually taste it, having another taste to remind myself.
You get there's a slight metallic hint to it, isn't there? It's
definitely.
And that sticks around as well. That doesn't dissipate over time. It seems to stay mean over time.
That's the main flavour that's coming through. And I think underneath that there's some, it might be gooseberry that's in there. It's not citrusy though, really.
No, there is definitely there is a fruit.
So there is some
difficult
fruit. It's not much
to pick out.
And an annoying coppery. We're seeing this often with the beers that we drink, that some of them just seem to be like that is not a desirable flavour profile. If you ask me, anyway, it shouldn't be in an IPA at all. But I don't know. So
I remember.
Meantime.
Yeah, I think it was one of the signature brews, wasn't it? It was just it was very similar to this. It was just very, very. That one was even more coppery, I think. But yeah, it's not an enjoyable trait to have in a beer.
We have end of line beers at Bath Ales that are free because there's just half a cask or whatever, and it's half flat, and it's it's been sat in the cold room for a couple of weeks after it's supposed to have gone out or whatever, so it's not in good condition at all. It tastes better than this. Yeah. I don't know what they're doing there.
Damning.
It is damning. Quite.
Well, I had I think it was a couple of episodes ago when just me and Aadil were doing an episode, and I had the Meantime, I think it was called the London Pale Ale. And that was okay. That was quite nice. In a smaller 330
standard bottle.
Yeah, and very similar to whichever of the other beer was that I'd had that evening. Both of the two beers were very similar. So I don't know whether it's because we followed on from the Trappist.
Yeah, it's a big flavour of the Trappist.
Yeah, that maybe it's influencing sort of...
It might be.
Our flavouring a little bit. So, I mean, we've still got quite a lot of this bottle left. So hopefully by the time we get to the end of it, it may have developed a little more. So
now I come to mention it, there is a bit of a hint of like orange in there as well, I guess. It's not very much. You have to dig through the metal.
Yeah. You have to get through it to find that.
I feel like, I think because when you have a really hoppy beer, often you get that coppery taste, and it's hard to... It's just there in some degree. I feel like I am seeing it more often in the less nuanced IPAs and beers in general, and I feel like it might... I don't know enough about the brewing process, but it seems like it's probably one of the signature accents of an IPA that's easy to get. And if you aren't sort of a skilled brewer, you would at least I have the coppery taste or something like that. It just seems like that's the trend of like, this tastes like an IPA. Why? Well, it's coppery. No other beer really has that strong coppery note, so it can't not be an IPA. But then there's no other notes going on, and nothing. Nothing de-harshing it makes it a poor entry, but it definitely is of that category. Like, I feel like it's a sufficient condition. Yeah,
we need fewer coppery IPAs and more piney ones. Don't don't get enough piney.
More roasted sort of IPAs as well.
Roasted
sort of,
what?
like a darker sort of
smoky flavour.
More of a smoky sort of flavour IPA. We've had a couple of those, and they've always been decent. So
yeah.
I don't actually know outside of Gem what Bath makes. What do you make?
What do you do?
Bath Ales has, obviously it makes Gem, which is like a bitter, which is a standard sort of classic kind of English bitter.
And it's quite good.
Yeah, it's all right. I mean, obviously, all I do is I smell Gem every day. So I'm sick of Gem right now. But I drank it for years before I worked there. So it's a nice beer. It's quite sweet. There's no hoppiness in it. It's a bitter as well. So I mean, I guess it's both sweet and bitter somehow. But they make a nice So Gem is too sweet really to be classified as a bitter in my mind. Although that's what it's marketed as. I think they maybe call it an amber ale these days. It sort of fits somewhere in the middle. But they have an actual proper bitter, which is called Barnsley, which I think is the best thing that they make. Okay. Which is the same colour as the Trappist Westmalle.
Oh, wow.
This evening. So it's really dark. Not like stout dark, but like Coke dark kind of thing. And that's I don't know, it's got an interesting flavour. It's full-bodied. It's really good. They make a pale ale called Spa, which is special pale ale, and Bath Spa, so it's funny. They make a couple of other, like a golden ale,
something hare.
Your golden hare.
Yeah.
Yeah, the logo is like a rabbit or a hare or something. But then they have a kind of daughter brewery called Beard, like Beerd.
Oh, Beard is run by Bath?
Yeah.
I did not know that. That makes a lot of sense.
And they make a lot of interesting... That's more like a craft brewery that does different types of beers and stuff like that. And they recently did one with Crane, and I think we'll maybe have Kevin from Crane come over here in a few weeks to chat to us about his brewery.
Yeah.
So that'll be cool. He was in Beard making a beer with Joe, the brewer from there, the other day, Saison, which had like... pink peppercorns and orange peel and coriander seeds and stuff in it. So, you know, that was we don't do anything like that in Bath.
I love the collaborations. It's like we're collaborating with someone. Let's do whatever the fuck we want.
Do something crazy and cool. So yeah, and they have some nice beers. They have one called Silvertip, which is really nice. And one called Cubic.
Yeah, that's very nice.
Another one called Convict. Another one called Razorback or something, which is also good. And so they do a lot of nice beers. So I think we should move on from beer to our actual talking point for this evening.
Yeah, so almost to follow on from Call of Duty in general, Alex, you sent us an interview which you found in The Guardian by Jessica Valenti. And it was an interview with Anita Sarkeesian. And it was all about the shit that she's been getting for her commentary on feminism within gaming.
Well, no.
And that's not true. It's not with feminism within gaming.
Yeah. It's gender
equality
and tropes in gaming, and most of the shit that she got was before she had done anything. This is what was really interesting to me about the Sarkeesian part, was that most of the vitriol came immediately when she announced a Kickstarter, and she just had a short 1.5-minute video, which basically said, hey, I would like to take some time. Like, I have a degree in this and that, and, you know, I have feminist frequency, and I've looked at issues of gender in various areas of pop culture, and I'd just like to look at tropes versus women. Mm-hmm. She didn't betray any bias except saying, I'm going to look at how tropes treat women. And from that, the shitstorm started almost immediately. She asked for $6,000, and they were already claiming that she was against gamers and she was the worst, and they were going to kill her and rape her. And I think the first reveal of her current address was done during the Kickstarter. Again, before she did anything.
So let's start with that. How fucking absurd.
Yeah, that is... I don't know what you can do to justify a rape threat, realistically. I don't know if there really is anything that justifies that. I mean, if someone threatened to rape Hitler, I still would say, war crimes trial, yes. Rape threat, even that seems a bit absurd. The threat of rape should never really be used in any circumstance, it seems to me. I can't see how that's ever okay. And yet, somehow these days, it's trotted out for any perceived
at the drop of a hat.
And what's absurd about this is it's trotted out with any perceived slight to the patriarchy. It's like, I'm not really schooled very well in feminism. Don't know enough about it to classify whether I actually agree with it or whether I think it's flawed in some way. But
I'm going to have to sidebar and say, when you say, I don't know anything about feminism and whether I agree with it, yes, there's different degrees and different theories that come out of it, but the baseline is just that there should be no gender difference.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, it's right. Okay, so obviously that's perfect.
But it's not obvious, right? It should be obvious, but it's not to the world, and it's obvious in theory and not in practice, which is the big problem. Right, when they do the double-blind tests of hiring from people who don't consider themselves sexist, they still end up hiring the guy and not hiring the girl.
Okay, but I would think that that's pretty difficult to dispute whether or not that's cool. But saying if someone said, I don't know enough about Marxism to know whether I agree with it, and you said, well, it just means everyone should get paid the same or something, no matter what, right. Equality for everyone. And I'd be like, well, yeah, that's cool, but actually there are things in Marxism where you might criticize it, and even though it's got a baseline of everyone should be, given some kind of equality that you'd agree with. I'm just saying, obviously I agree with that. I just don't know the detail of different types of feminist theory to know. But what I was trying to say about it was that it's absurd, it seems to me, that if someone says anything about, I have some kind of feminist critique of something, that what happens isn't that people go, oh, well, point 3 of your analysis, begs the question against the blah, blah, blah. What they do is, I'm going to fucking rape you. And it's like, that's exactly the sort of thing that a feminist theory should be exposing. And all you're doing is, whenever it comes along, is you're just showing the worst possible side of masculinity. And it annoys me that it's not about being really. This is a games-focused podcast, but even in this forum, it is only games. Hello, it's not actually life or death. Why would you care enough to issue some kind of vitriol and hatred?
Oh, well.
Games are forums in which people do that on a regular basis, but to take it outside the Call of Duty lobby and reveal someone's house address and but phone through bomb threats and stuff like this, it's completely out of proportion.
But this is the same culture that if you revealed yourself to be a female, you were assumed to be garbage, or assumed that you, or you were a slut, and blah blah blah. If you did well, it's because someone was helping you, or somehow you were using sex to your advantage. And any mistake you made was because you're a dumb girl, despite the fact that there's someone who statistically is much worse as a guy on the same team.
Yeah.
This is the culture that you're walking into, and then you have the gall to say, why are you treating women differently?
But
women aren't welcome here. It's a boys' club, blah, blah, blah.
Is it just that it stamps on any minority immediately, like a playground mentality or something? Because I've heard a lot of racist or racially themed abuse in chat rooms as well. And probably the only reason why I haven't heard so much sexist stuff is just because less girls play games like Call of Duty. That's
why.
Stupid that it should be like that. But I imagine any difference. If I was to put a Jewish themed gamer tag, I reckon I'd be attacked on that basis. If I put an Islamic-themed gamer tag, I'd probably be attacked on that basis. Yeah. I mean, it's just weird.
Yeah, I don't think there's a sort of that women are being picked out. I think that it is almost that it's unless you're there is this skew towards just giving someone who is in a minority shit. That seems to come within sort of like. I don't think it's. It's difficult to say. I can't say that it's within gaming culture in general because I've not experienced it being in gaming culture in general. But if we take it back to sort of like the Call of Duty lobbies and things like that, that is the where I've experienced shit. Not necessarily towards me because I am a white male with a very anonymous username as such that you can take nothing from. But I've heard people giving other people shit. You're listening to people on your team giving other people on another team shit because yes, they may have shot them once and they've got a username which is something that points them towards being either a woman or a minority of some kind. And it's you're thinking, what the this makes no sense. What are you doing? Just play the fucking game. Like you don't need to sort of appear to show off to the other people you're playing with by giving somebody shit. And it is like a playground mentality. It really almost. Is.
Yeah. It's I would disagree. I think the treatment of women is different than the treatment of other minorities and things. I think if you walked a skilled female through a Call of Duty deathmatch and a skilled racial minority of some type that happens to be male, I think the girl will get more shit.
Okay.
50% of the population, and therefore can't really be considered a minority. When represented in Call of Duty lobbies, they're probably like 1% or something. Whereas your non-white male may not be more than 50%, but he's probably a downside more than 1%. So that might be some reason why women get more shit, because they're more of an outsider. But one thing we've got to be clear about here is that there's nothing about gaming in particular that is the source of, or the explanation for why people are spilling out their hatred, because it's the internet in general where you find this type of sexism, absurd sexism. Like Twitter, for instance, is a forum for rape threats like we've never seen before.
Mm-hmm. Right, but gaming, as a community, has distilled this. Yes, you can find it in other places, but especially in your Xbox Lives, your Call of Duties, and what they do, what happens on the general internet by the people who identify as these gamers is more aggressive, more concerted than other areas. I think you can't ignore the fact that there is a community who self-identifies that does these rape threats, that will hack and reveal addresses of Sarkeesian and her parents.
Mm.
You know what I mean? It's not just, yes, other parts of the internet do it, but the self-identified gamers are the ones who are calling. Gamergate was a hashtag that was about was supposedly about being authentic in journalism.
Yeah, so about ethics in journalism, supposedly.
That was a very thinly veiled facade of the
reality.
Right?
But part of that was because they were claiming that they were being persecuted as a community, right? They are self-identified as a community. Whether or not that's valid, as the persecution is clearly not a thing.
It's insane. I mean, that's just that's hijacking a word, persecution, to apply it to almost the opposite of what it
Completely
actually is. So they're the instigators of the persecution against the person who's in no position to make
exactly what persecution have they actually come under? Someone has given their opinion on something. Right. They are not being persecuted against in any way whatsoever.
It's persecution. You don't agree with me. I've never had anyone not agree with me because I'm a privileged young white male in North America or the UK, I guess, in Europe, but like the Western world. Like
I'm a Western white man.
Yeah. And I'm a gamer and I'm not white, but that's okay. I'm sure there's versions of me in Gamergate where brown's there too, but it's less so, right? Because of the aforementioned racism and stuff that pushes gamers who were born and raised the same as you, but you have a different skin color. When they persecute you, you might back off. I've been privileged not to have experienced any racism, but then again, I'm the Omniarch and have been for ages, and my voice doesn't sound exceptionally anything.
I've been called racial slurs on the internet before, just because that, those people who are saying that dish that out to anyone who kills them in Call of Duty.
Yeah, they see that as a generic, or like, you're as bad as blah, and it doesn't matter if you are that or not, I'm calling you a name.
Yeah, they're just like the worst thing. They would never say it, I imagine, in the street or, in the cliche of them being like playing it in the basement of their parents' house or something. But like, I mean, something about it being able to plug in and then be anonymous and
I think that's part of it as well. It's the anonymity, isn't it? That almost with most parts of the internet, even with gaming, you've got this tag which may mean nothing at all to do with who you are as such, and you almost have the sense that you can go on and you can say what you like because no one knows who you are.
It's the anonymity with the privilege of reference, right? Like, you get to get the kudos and you get people to know you and tell you good job, mate, or whatever, so you guys can have a community where you know each other, but not actually know who you are in real life, right?
Yeah.
So you aren't culpable for any of your actions, but your community continued to support you as an individual because of the wonders of handles. It's very interesting.
And I find it interesting the way that the internet is promised the ability to be like a new liberal frontier where those barriers of like racial and gender kind of distinctions that we can't help but carry around with us because of the way that we're biologically made could have been dissolved in the online identities that we could adopt. There's no reason why anyone should know my, physical particularities and I'm engaging with people online. So it should make us all equal. It's a new utopia that's promised or something. But actually what's happened is that there seems to be this weird coalition that's formed around the very worst type of prejudices based on exactly those things that's formed on the internet. It's made it that's the place that you go to see exactly the worst types of white male prejudices being played out in front of people.
So that's what I liked about the article, was that they made this point about how it was supposed to be this utopia, but by virtue of the system that occurs in real life, all of the people on the internet in the beginning were white male adults at the beginning, and then just white males in general.
But this is happening today,
right? But that set the paradigm. This is the point the article meant. It set the paradigm such that you assume white maleness until otherwise noted, and because of that, it's very obvious when someone's not that, and then they get others more harshly than they might have been in the real world because. It's explicitly noted, and you're not the norm. Like, instead of in the real world where you see people of all types in general, here the assumption is white maleness. So when there's someone who has flagged that they aren't the norm, it's really weird because even though everyone isn't a white male, the assumption is. This is the argument that they're making, which. As someone who doesn't fit that, I don't know. I assume white maleness on a lot of things by default. On the internet, like I don't assume brown maleness. It's not about who you are and assuming. I just assume all the people I played on Call of Duty are probably white dudes.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I also assume that, like, I mean...
But I also assume they're all 12 because they're on Call of Duty.
Exactly, yeah. And they are all 12, and they've got these tiny little high-pitched voices. Oh, you little bitch, you fucking shot me. It's like, yeah, fuck you. I've got a job. I actually work. I'm an adult. I have a house. I pay fucking mortgage. You're a child. And don't complain at me because I shot you in a game where...
But this is the biggest stakes in their life.
People. Yeah. Maybe I shouldn't be playing games.
It was sort of almost highlighted even more to me when, as part, I'm part of a couple of different gaming groups on Facebook for other different podcasts and for PlayStation and things like this. And someone in one of these groups posted the article saying, "Hey, this is a really good article. It's really well written. Everybody should take a read. I think it's a great article and it brings light to all of this sort of things." And about a minute after that post was made with a link to the article, people were already commenting, just saying, "No, I'm not going to read this. I don't like Anita Sarkeesian, blah, blah, blah." And you're just thinking, hang on, wait, no, read the art. No, what are you doing? Just because it makes no sense that you've just decided to comment on a post that you've seen just because you have some kind of
baggage.
Exactly. But it just made no sense. And like, bless the fucking lad who posted it. He was trying to counter with all of these well thought out comments and arguments against all of these people. And
but
then he started
closed,
getting
right?
shit because he then, it's just, you're just thinking, this is, read the article and you are the example. You are the fucking issue. And one of the comments, not against the article as such that was made, basically said, yes, they talk about all of these problems, but they don't give any solutions to them. But that's not their job. It's not their job to turn around and say to you, "You're doing this to me, so I think you should do this instead." No, that's your problem. That's not their problem. That's something that you should figure out. Why you're being a fucking arsehole.
Yeah, that's saying I went around mass murdering people, chopping them up into little bits. And someone wrote up a news story about saying someone has been going around mass murdering people and chopping them up into little bits. And it was me that was doing it. But they didn't offer any solutions, did they?
Yeah, exactly.
So that's my critique of their article. No, what the point of the article was that shouldn't really be happening, and it's fucked up that it is. So, why don't you just not do that anymore?
Exactly.
I think one of the absurdities about it as well is that if her videos were unfounded, here's a perfectly normal thing that, I don't know, just because we haven't mentioned it yet, Super Hexagon, for instance, and if someone was to do a feminist critique of Super Hexagon and say, "Oh, it somehow displays the phallus as the..."
Well, you're a triangle, which is a pointed shape.
Right, yeah, exactly. Well, it is, but okay, fine. So, and the hexagon closing in on it somehow represents the vulva that's, encasing it and trying to stifle it in some way, and you've got to escape from it, and that's, I don't know, sort of whatever. This is clearly tenuous, right? That's the whole point of my example, is that if she'd leveled a tenuous, absurd feminist reading of something that's spoiling an otherwise innocent setup for a game, then maybe there would be room for a dispassionate critique of the critique by saying, "Well, you're missing the mark here because that's not the purpose of the game, and your analysis doesn't really catch anything that's relevant here, so that it's not well founded." However, one of her earlier videos was critiquing how women are represented in the Mario games.
Yeah.
And actually, I found that extremely eye-opening, and I couldn't find anything about it. Not that I was trying to find anything to disagree with, but there was nothing really in there to disagree with. I just found that, yes, actually, I hadn't really thought about it like that. The role of women in the Mario games is that you're the princess, which is already kind of lame, but that's all you get to be, is a princess, and then she's just powerlessly squirreled away by
the baddie.
The baddie. Who's
Yeah,
the baddie?
and Mario
Right.
just is
Donkey
assumed to get her because he saved her.
Yeah,
Yes,
right, exactly. Yeah, there's no
that's his
autonomy on
reward,
her part.
almost. That is his reward.
Yeah, she's
for,
the reward.
Yeah.
She's powerless. He has all the power. It's all about men claiming women as their prize of war. Something like it has echoes to some like really lame, backwards kind of picture. So, like, I mean, it would be one thing if her critique was actually far off the mark, but it actually seems to me that her critique is just dead on. Like, yeah, actually, yes, I never really thought about it before, but Mario does propagate a fairly like sort of Stone Age view of the relationship between men and women, and that's not really. I mean, I'm not suggesting that Mario influences society in a bad way because of it, but she is right that it's weird how lame.
Well,
and
it probably does. Is the thing, right? Like it reinforces all these stereotypes of women can't do things and they have to be saved and they're delicate creatures.
In a very small way, yeah, that's true. It does. It chips
but it's
one
the
more piece of hay on the camel's back.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely, fair enough. I accept that. But I mean, the point is that even if you were, you can't possibly object to the critique being given because, I mean, even if it's not very much sexism that it adds to the pile of hay, it is some, and you couldn't possibly argue that it's none. I mean, it is, and how can you say that sexism is good? I mean, it's like where we started off with this whole thing of like...
Because it's just a game, it's fiction. This is the standard move. It's fiction. It doesn't. It's fake. It's not. It doesn't. We don't have princesses and dragon kings and Goombas in the real world, so it's not a thing. This is the type of mentality you're working with.
Is by its nature. Anyone who's taken a course in English literature will understand
that
there are various schools of critique that you can launch against any bit of fiction. You can't rape threat the person making those. It's insane.
Right, but anybody who's taken a course in English literature is your requirement. Like you've just betrayed. So that includes
everyone who's. But I don't know. Yeah, fine, fair enough. But maybe this point needs to be brought out. Then someone is allowed to make a feminist critique. Because if I made a Marxist critique of Mario games, in some sense, I can't imagine how that would go. But somehow,
the coins are there for you to take. That's definitely capitalism.
Something capitalist about it. Yeah, exactly. It's greedy. There's no sharing amongst
your life. Literally, your time on the planet is compounded the more money you get.
Yeah, right. There probably is some way I could build it in, right? But the thing is, that her analysis was good. It was tenuous like this. But maybe if I did do that, and some capitalist guy then decided to send me a rape threat as a result, it was absurd. And as a white male,
and you would report them to the police.
But the other
someone has sent you a threat.
Yeah.
But the thing is that in your example, you miss the fact that men in societal. I'm not saying men don't get raped because that's not true. But the societal view of rape is very much a women victim thing.
Yeah.
So when you are rape threatened, it's much more easy to not take it seriously. But, talk to everyone out there. Talk to your female friends or loved ones about what it's like to be a woman walking home from the bar or walking to your car late at night and the shit that goes through your head because that's the world we live in. And it's fucking ridiculous. And all women, to some know someone who this has happened to, have these feelings that, I've been the guy who happens to be walking behind a girl late at night for a couple blocks and, felt them shirk, felt them quicken their pace, and all I wanted, what are you supposed to do? As a dude, I'm like, whoa, but it's not me that's the problem, it's the world, right? I can't just yell, I'm not gonna rape you! Because I'm pretty sure all they're gonna hear is, rape you!
Yeah. Exactly, man. You do get it in sort of when you're walking towards a young lady late at night, that they will then cross the road from you, and you're thinking, I pose absolutely zero threat to you whatsoever, but you do not know that, and we live in a society which has made you think that even that there is some slight chance that I may do something.
Well, and that the society won't support you at all.
Completely, yeah. Which is
not just
hideous.
The fear mongering; it's the fact that this is a legitimate threat, and not much is going to come out of it to punish the wrongdoer.
Can I just point out that one advantage of being a man working in the brewing industry is that I have such early starts and I go to bed so early that there's really no chance that I would ever be. I mean, you're both saying, "Oh, you're walking late at night." You know, I haven't walked late at night for ages. It's summer at the moment as well. I get up and it's sunny. It's already the sun's come up and I'm in bed before the sun goes down. I haven't seen nighttime for months. It's like none of this applies to me.
That's hilarious. Because on this side of Catherine has the opposite problem, which is a lot for a lot of the year she never sees the sun at all.
Mm.
Yes, right. I think I'll just round up and finish the conversation by saying that when I mentioned earlier that the comment which said they're not giving any what did I say? Any words. I didn't say any words. Any things that will stop this from happening. They're not giving any solutions. They're not giving any solutions. I've got a solution to the problem. Don't be a fucking dick.
Yeah, don't be a dick.
Don't threaten someone for having an opinion on something.
Yeah.
There's no need for it.
Critique their opinion.
Yeah, completely.
You can't critique their opinion.
And if you can't, that should tell you something.
Response. Don't just have a fucking absurd response.
If for no other reason than knowing the difference between different types of critique, take an English literature class.
Yeah.
You know, fuck that.
Exactly.
Even in
learn.
Even if you don't take the exam, doesn't matter. Just read a book.
Just understand. Learn, motherfuckers. Right.
Something other than sling racial threats at people or gender-based threats at people in a Call of Duty chat room for once in your life.
Exactly.
Or I'll come round and Ben will rape you. That's my counter-apologetic rape threat that I'm sending out to all of them.
I'm down on that.
Yeah. I'll set Ben on you.
I feel like there's the point and there's you whizzing by.
I'm way beyond that, but both the beers have been over 7%.
Both the beers have been over 7%, so it's going to be like that, isn't it?
Oh dear.
That's the problem.
I haven't articulated it quite as well as I'd have liked to, but I did articulate it.
Even though you had one beer, Aadil, what was your favourite beer?
I'm going to go ahead and say the Hopyard Pale, Garrison brewed dry hopped. I will say I'm still disappointed that the taste didn't match the nose. It's a fine pale ale. I wouldn't go out of my way to get it though. I mean, there are other pale ales around that are regularly on tap, and I would definitely pick this over the standard, which is here is the Alexander Keith's quote unquote IPA, which one of these weeks I'll have to review. But there are better beers in town.
Cool. And I'm going to assume, Alex, that you all agree with me that the Westmalle Trappist was the better beer of the evening in the Meantime. I think that the IPA, the Meantime IPA, did get better. The taste wasn't quite as coppery towards the end. And I think it was. I'm not going to say that it was because the Trappist beer sort of had spoiled our palates. Because I can't tell you whether it's but it was better.
If you like, I'm not sure I'm going to go that far.
No,
I just don't want to have one of them anymore.
That's fair.
Ever again.
Yeah. The Meantime. That's fair enough. Yes. So if you've had a Meantime IPA and you disagree with us, and you actually like it, you know what the fuck you're talking about.
Oh, I know where this is going.
Then you should tweet us.
It's not just a comment, it's a segue into another thing.
You can tweet us at something, tanked_up_cast.
Just Twitter. Just email Twitter.
Go to Twitter
tell
and
them
just
to pass
have a look on
a
it.
Message to us.
And tweet at random people. Just be nice. Just say, hey, how's your day going? I hope it's going well.
Yeah, and don't rape threat anyone.
No.
Whatever you do. I can't stress that enough.
Exactly.
But don't not rape threat people explicitly, because that's weird as well.
What?
Don't what?
Don't not rape people because that's weird.
Don't not rape threat people explicitly. Don't be like, I am not rape threatening you. This is not a rape threat.
That would be slightly odd.
Good morning, not a rape threat.
Okay, I understand. That is also very odd.
I think that's an anti-rape threat. That's not just not rape threatening, that's doing...
I said not rape threatening explicitly.
Oh, I see. So, okay, got you. Fine.
Right, yes. Finishing up the podcast for another week. We have been Tanked Up. We're on Twitter at tanked_cast. I'm at Nova_47. Aadil is...
At the Omniarch.
And Alex, you can post to, as you can do
Alex
every week.
Alex is the negation of Twitter.
Good. We need someone holding us to the real world.
Right. You can also email us at tankedup.cast@gmail.com.
Glad you remembered it, because I didn't.
And we have a Facebook page and a YouTube page, which does have other content.
It does. We've started putting up some Rocket League videos, because that game is fucking excellent. So have a look out for those if you go on YouTube, which you probably do, because it's the second largest search engine in the world.
Also, Civilization, because you haven't said that yet.
No, we haven't said that yet. What else haven't we said?
Well, we did say
Super Hexagon, yeah. So I think we're all done.
Yeah.
Cool. Take it easy, guys. We'll catch you soon.
Bye. Ciao.